Jackson Pollock and Lee Krasner shared this room when they lived here together. They had twin beds because they kept very different schedules. Lee died in 1984, and the room is pretty much the way she left it. We have some of her clothing, her shell collection, her little television set, and even her spider plant. This portrait of her was done by the man she lived with before she knew Jackson. Her lover's name was Igor Pantuhov. They lived together in the 1930s, and you can see that he's glamorized her and emphasized her beautiful auburn hair. We have a photograph, probably taken by Lee Krasner, showing Jackson Pollock together with some of his friends, including Alfonso Osorio, the fellow artist who also collected Pollock's work, and his companion, Ted Dragon, as well as their dog, which was the mother of Jackson's standard poodle, whom he named Ahab. When Jackson and Lee first moved here, they had to work in the house. Lee's studio was downstairs and Jackson's was up here in this room, which Lee later converted into an office. We have a beautiful view of Accabonac Creek out the back window, and also a lovely north light coming from the window to the side. Jackson created his Accabonac Creek paintings in this room. What did Jackson Pollock have in common with the Japanese avant-garde performance and conceptual artists known as Gutai? Did the Gutai artists interact with the New York art scene in the 1950s and 60s? The answer to both questions is yes, and the evidence is on view at the Pollock-Krasner House and Study Center, 830 Springs Fireplace Road in East Hampton. For museum hours and further information, call 631-324-4929 or visit us on the web at pkhouse.org. Gutai artists believed in truth to materials. They thought that art should represent nothing but itself and not be illusionistic. And they invented a number of very interesting and different techniques to express the truth of the materials. One way was to paint with their whole bodies. Kazuo Shiraga painted with his feet. And other artists used the material in very innovative ways, splashing it, pouring it, spilling it, throwing it. And you can see from the techniques that they used why they felt a kinship with Jackson Pollock. In 1956, they sent Pollock copies of their magazine, trying to interest him in their work and have him comment on it and give them some constructive ideas about what they were doing and whether or not he felt strongly about it. Unfortunately, there was no way that he was going to respond to them at that time of his life. Early 1956 was a very bad period for him. But after his death, the magazines were discovered in his belongings, and it was not known how they got there. This exhibition explores that process and also a 1964 visit that Pollock's friend Paul Jenkins made to the Gutai group in Japan. Paul Jenkins was about 12 years younger than Jackson Pollock, but they knew each other, and Jenkins very much admired Jackson Pollock's work. In 1964, he was invited to be a visiting artist at the Gutai Pinacotheca in Osaka, and he went there in November of that year and spent a month living and working with the Gutai artists. At the end of his stay, they gave him some paintings as friendship gifts, and he exchanged work with them as well. So these paintings that we have in the exhibition by the Japanese artists mostly come from this collection of his, and supplemented by a couple of other loans to fill out the representation of the group.